details. The little aspects of your work, your project, that give you joy every time you look back at them. They are the fire, the raw source of energy for a car build, or any build. They're the satisfaction and the inspirado all at the same time. So of all the comments stretching out under these videos, the one that sticks out says something about attention to detail. How could you be energized and determined enough to turn your daydream into reality and not be all about the details? There's a small group of car build projects on YouTube, the ones where people show the sheer time and effort it takes and don't gloss over the hard fact that even when you're fueled by those little things that make your car deeply personal to you, it's extremely difficult sometimes to keep going. But if that car is going to pay you back meaningfully, and I'm not talking about money, what I'm talking about could never be about money, then you have to give the little things time. In the past 2 weeks since the last video, I've had to deal with details rather than the broad strokes of what is now feeling like endless, relentless sanding. There's some of that here too, but come with me now as we journey into some of the smaller things that must be tackled so that the inspiration keeps the project taking over. In the last episode, I ripped these door posts out of the shelf for 3 whys. First, at least one of them is rusty beyond an ignorable level. I also need them to be in and in final position to hang the doors and properly line up the body. And lastly, there are 2 rivet points for the outer sills beneath each post, and I need those back on the shell ASAP. The issue of where these posts sit is a big one. I kinda supposed they'd probably stand perfectly vertical, but lo, I was wrong. Hey, I'm used to it. Then I consulted fellow owner restorers who told me about screws they had found holding their doorpost in through the outer panel. Thank bibs for the Lotus forums. My car, like theirs, has holes in the same area, but no evidence that there were ever screws even temporarily fitted to hold the posts. Okay, they're back in one piece, resplendent with a little detail that only I will know is there. Alright, me and you, but seriously, don't tell anyone. It's not going to take much to finish blasting and then paint these. They're easily located fore aft and for height using the newly fitted temporary screws, and in terms of in and out on the horizontal, I'm just going to fit them when bonding and use the cross beam to locate them. This is the rear valance back bumper combo. They're still an item because some of the screws have seized in the threaded inserts captive in the bumper, and they're not captive enough to not spin. You'll see as we assess the valance some paint damage and one long crack. That was me. I decided to take the scenic route across Wales while trailering the Esprit home and hadn't quite tied the car down well enough. It had a meeting with the trailer winch post. Never mind the household style brass screw cups, as far as I can tell, this is a piece of a UK road sign. Roadhouse. Oh man, if it could talk, what would its story be? And right here I joined two dots. A detail that will forever be with the car, and one that reminded me not to take things too seriously. Last episode I removed a large aluminium flat washer from the door jamb of the car so I could sand underneath it. It's an odd size and not really in good enough nick to go back on. A problem for another day, I thought. Well, our road sign is 3mm aluminium plate, and so too, as it turns out, is our washer. "2 days. And not 2 days fluting around. 2 sweat-bathed, burning fingertips, I'll sleep tonight kind of days it took to sand this panel. And guess what? It's only rough sanded. Not nearly ready for primer. In fact, I noticed on some close-up shots coming later that it's not even properly rough sanded. Staying in it was such a tough head game, and I resorted to anything I could think of. Don't ever disrespect your body shop guy. He's probably some sort of masochist, so won't think twice about giving you what later will be dubbed the 40 grit comb over. To get this panel properly prepared, it really needs to be washed because sanding isn't going to get all of the dirt out of the rough fiberglass on the back. So once washed, it's going into the spray booth for a day or two, and the heat in there while the lads work will make sure the panel is completely dry again. Remember the nice job I did filling the holes in the bodywork where the valance had been repositioned sometime in the past? Well, I can't line the valance up perfectly on the bodywork and line it up with any of the remaining holes. It's a real head scratcher, but because none of the holes properly line up with the 4 original threaded insert holes in the body shell, I've come to the conclusion that while this is a genuine Series 2 Spree valance, it's not the original one from the car. The bumper too doesn't line up, with 5 of the 8 fastener holes for it in the bodywork. This one can only be filed under cold case, unlikely to ever be reopened. This is a very large hole in the front under tray that funnels air, the tray not the hole, to the radiator. For a car that measures 111 centimeters or less than 44 inches tall, it still has very normal ride height. I measured mine at 5.5 inches, which you might say is small, but I know how to use it. Wait, what are we talking about? Still, this must be where the car bottomed out on something. There's lots of other scrapes and rips, and all the ducting for the rad is shot, and the 2 oblong holes are where someone fitted oversized fans, presumably because of overheating issues, and needed clearance for them. The front splitter bolts to the under tray, or vice versa, and it needs repairs to its corners too. For now, I'll focus on stripping and more stripping. Wait, what are we talking about? More details. The seatbelt anchor plates that I'm fabricating in stainless steel, these need to go in yesterday so that the sills can go back on. You have no idea how hard it is to find new seatbelt bolts and nuts in 7/16 inch UNF and with thin heads on the nuts. I mean the proper ones. They can be found, but surely there's one place that has everything in the greater European area. Nuts, bolts and swivel spacers. Anyway, I had to take 2 runs at welding captive nuts onto the plates. The heat galled the bolts into them, so the second time I barely threaded the bolts just to hold the nut in place for the first tacks. I've no excuse now to get back on the sanding. Gar came up the other day and said, you realise that every bit of sanding you do in this car you have to do again. Twice. That was a wonderful moment. It's taken way longer than I expected, but I'm now really scared. Bonnet and tailgate next, in between all the new fiberglass repairs that lie imminent. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and check out support options via the link to my webpage in the description. Thanks to new patrons Johnny Abba, Jakub Michalski, Rob P, Peter Carrington, Anthony Nagus, Nicholas Duncan, Ian Jauncey, Simon Woodside and Andrew Flensky, and to all of my patrons. You keep my head in the game and the sandpaper in my hand. See you in a few days with a behind the scenes update, and until then, stay stuck in and good luck. Seriously, you're already very lucky if you're not sanding. Bye.